Hello,
Hello, hello. It is finally Wicked
Wicked
Part 2.
season.
Wicked for good. But before we get to Wicked, Becca, you owe me $10.
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, have officially cracked open a book for the first time in a long time.
a decade.
Well, I've read her, okay, cracked open a new book for probably a decade, but I have read little bits and pieces of Harry Potter along the way. We were going on a trip over the weekend, just like Friday to Sunday, like just a weekend thing. And Becca bet me, she said, I brought this. And she laughed in my face. She said, "Ha ha, you'll never read that." And I said, listen, I have to read it because Sunrise on the Reaping is coming out in 1 year's time from now, November of 2026. As of right now, things can always change. However, the trailer also just dropped for this. And I said, I need to kick it into gear because I don't want no spoilers. I don't want to see it. I didn't even watch the trailer because I can't handle it. I don't want any spoilers. Becca laughed in my face. She said, "Ha ha ha, you'll never read that book this weekend." And I said, "You want to bet?" She said, "Yes. I bet you $10 you won't read 50 pages." And I said, "You're on." And guess what I did? I read 50 pages. And look at where I'm at. Where's the camera? Can you see that? I read I read more than 50 pages. Actually, I read 100
On the trip.
on the trip that weekend, and then I read 50 more pages the other day.
And my mind was blown. This
So
this was because you didn't read anything on the way there because it was
it was too
dark.
dark. It's too dark.
And so I was like, no way she reads anything once we're there. But this she did. And I was like, that's crazy. That's
I'm
no way.
I am currently on page 148 of like like f- close to 400. I think this looks like a little more than a third.
Yeah.
So I need to finish this book because I want to watch the trailer. And as soon as the trailer come out, I have been dodging spoilers left and right for not only Sunrise on the Reaping, but also Wicked Part for good because we saw it. It came out Friday night. We saw, and people also saw it early for Amazon early release, or whatever. We saw it Saturday night, so I had to dodge for a couple days. Spoilers, because I didn't want any. And since the trailer came out for Sunrise on the Reaping, people will be posting about it left and right. So I need to finish so I can weigh in on the conversations and also not get any spoilers. But you owe me $10.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I genuinely I was surprised.
yeah.
This is great.
And hey, if I had a nightlight, I'd probably be done with the book. Like a little reading light.
Something that you can turn off without having to get up.
Yeah, because that was my problem. When I was reading the 50 pages the other day. What?
You can use that light.
Oh, hey, game changer actually. When I was reading the 50 pages the other day, it was like before I was falling asleep, and I was like, I kind of want to read more, but also I like if I get tired, I don't want to get up to turn my light off, so I turned it off. I shut the book and didn't read anymore because it was dark. So there's my dilemma. A dollar store gift,
Oh, got it, got it,
book
got it.
light.
Write that down. I'll write that down.
I we for Christmas we always get dollar store gifts for everybody in our family, and I've actually had a lot of dollar store gift ideas for myself this year.
It used to be just like, I get you a funny joke, or I got you a candy bar, or whatever. And now it's like, somebody give me this specific thing, or like you're calling at the dollar store. You're like, oh, if someone wanted to give me this thing that I genuinely would
That's
use.
crazy.
So, clutch
Yeah.
dollar store gifts.
Anywho, shall we get on to Wicked?
Let's begin.
Wicked for good, Becca. So just a little recap or whatever. Becca has never seen the show. I have seen the show. Um, but we've both seen the movie, the first movie, obviously. So I was going into it, and also I would like to say I watched some slime before we went and saw For Good because I really wanted to be just like just go back to the basics and be like, yes, this is what it's based on. This is what we're basing it off of because show good, great. Everybody love it. Like I've said before, I consider Wicked to be one of the pillars of Broadway.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
I think it's funny the way that you told me that you were watching Slime because you were like, I was gonna watch the first movie so I could get caught up, and then I watched Slime
I
for like
watched
two
Slime,
hours and like,
which I'm glad I did watch Slime because that changed my perspective on the show a little bit. And there was a couple things that I forgot about in the Slime because it's been a minute since I've seen the show in person. We do not live in New York, nowhere near, or London, and those are the two places it be. So, um, I I needed to. This is an instance where slime is okay.
Slime is okay in my book, almost always.
Slime slime makes it more accessible. Sorry, we don't live in New York, so what are we gonna do? Spend $800 to get there, or go on YouTube? Anywho, and I did watch the slime with Ryan McCartan. Sue me. Sue me. I started with OG Adina, Kristen, but then I was like, Ryan McCartan?
Shoo.
Shoot. I love Ryan McCartan. So I switched it, and I'm glad I did. Anyways. So I had refreshed on the slime immediately before going. Becca has never seen the show. So we went back and to our OG Wicked episode, and Becca made some predictions. And you want let's do those predictions now,
I would like
or
to preface these by saying I did normally when I watch movies I like to predict stuff and I'm like I have a good amount of certainty. When I predicted these I was not certain because I was like this is such a really popular show that would not surprise me if it was unusual in how the story went
mm,
to make because it's good, you know?
hmm.
Here were my predictions. These are paraphrased from if you want to listen to exactly how I said them, watch the last episode. Here are my predictions. Nessa is the other witch, the other wicked witch of the east. Um, I said, quote, Fiyero has a huge role in this next movie, and I did not elaborate.
Yeah, spot
It's
on.
true. I did say there was some that because he likes Glinda, but he likes Elphaba more, there would be some stuff there, but my words were some stuff there.
Hmm.
So half points. Um so I did bring up the poster of the Broadway, which I have thoughts on this for this one as well because I talked to you this right after the theater and I
Hmm.
didn't remember having said this. The poster of the Broadway is Elphaba to their hat, right, smiling, and then Glinda like whispering in her ear, "Ooh," like whisper, and and so the like I thought that at the end of the first movie they're still friends. They're not on the same sides anymore, but they still like they're still friends. And so I thought that was gonna change because now Glinda's gonna be, for lack of a better word, the bad guy and like turn against Elphaba.
Specifically, you said because in the beginning of the first movie, it starts at the end of the story, and then she's like, "Let me tell the story of how this happened."
Yeah,
And she starts by saying, like, "Oh, the Wicked Witch is dead." Yeah, like I kind of knew her. We were kind of friends.
I
Like
don't really know
she
her.
did not want to say that they were friends, so like it's coming off publicly that she does not like Elphaba. The beginning of the first movie,
Yes,
which is the end. Confusing, but
it makes
we're
sense.
with it.
Um, and so I was thinking thoughts about that. Then I was like, Elphaba's dad is gonna be in it. But I didn't clarify anything about that. I just said he's gonna show up,
Mhm.
which he does.
You
But
said secret sister, maybe?
yeah, I did say that. Secret third sister, Wicked Witch of
Witch
the
of the
North.
North.
Crazy.
Mm.
I did say the professor was gonna die. Spoilers. That doesn't actually happen. That was one of the like two things that I didn't get
Mhm.
very close. I did. Okay. Then I talked about Bach and Nessa, and I talked about it in a really roundabout way.
Mhm.
But in the ways that I did talk about, I was spot on. Okay, I said so. Obviously, Bach likes Glinda, right? And the only reason that he goes out with Nessa is because Glinda told him to, I guess. And he's about to when they're at the party in the first movie. he's like trying he's I don't know if he's like trying to say it or like he's conflicted. He's like, Nessa, he's about to like say, I don't actually like you, but then he's like, beautiful, I love you. And he doesn't actually do it. And then I predicted that I was like, he's gonna tell her and Nessa is gonna get hurt by that and then retaliate. And then I was like, oh, because she's a witch, gonna turn him into a lizard or something. Okay. Those were my predictions from the last movie.
Mhm.
So I some pretty good predictions, I gotta say. One or two spots here or there, but all around pretty good.
Well, would you like to give us a big old recap?
Here's a recap. I will do it incredibly short of the first movie and then talk about the second movie. In the first movie, Glinda Green, everyone hates her, or not Glinda, Elphaba. Glinda Pink, everyone loves her. Frenemies, now they're besties. Um, let's go see the wizard. The wizard's gonna cure your greenness. Oh my gosh, here's the wizard. You're a fraud? You can't save the animals? You're the one attacking the animals? Oh my gosh, I hate you. Let's bounce. They split up. That's the first movie. And Fiyero and Bach and stuff, but whatever, that's the first movie. The second movie.
If you haven't seen Wicked and you're listening to this,
What are you doing?
thanks.
Yeah.
But also, watch the first part.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna understand.
Even if you have seen it, you might not
I
understand.
will say though, if you had never seen Wicked and then you just listen to my retelling and then you go watch Wicked, it's like two movies.
Sometimes when you're retelling things and I'm just sitting here listening, it reminds me of the Olaf shorts. It's like,
When those came out, that's what people talked about. It was
yeah,
me. They were like, "What do you like?"
yeah,
It's the same.
yeah, it's that vibe.
Would do with some excellent Olaf shorts. I gotta say, if you
Yeah.
gave me some time to make it a little bit more funny,
If you had any kind of budget,
yeah. Anyway, uh,
for good.
where were we
You didn't
at?
start
Okay,
yet.
it starts off uh with Glinda's good witch. Oh my gosh, everyone loves Glinda. She's now like she's not doesn't have a title, but she's like everyone just likes her. She's a public figure. And Madam What's her face is all behind it all, scheming with the wizard to like make sure that she's good and that Glinda's not Glinda. I keep saying Glinda. Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, is evil. She's spreading all this lies and stuff. Oh my gosh, she's so evil. She's trying to kill us all. She's nasty. We're gonna hunt her down. They're making the Yellow Brick Road. Why? I don't know. In the first movie, he's got the figurines, and he's like, I'm just gonna put a yellow brick road, and all roads will lead to me. I don't actually know why he does this. But anyway, Elphaba be they're using like animals to make the road, and she comes and like saves them. The animals are not speaking. The animals, oh, we gotta leave Oz. We gotta go to the nowhere place under the tunnel. There's a bunch of sand because like Oz is not safe, and we gotta leave. And Elphaba's like, what? Oz is my home. Oz is your home. Stay. And they're like, no. So lots of the animals leave. Obviously, not all of them because they come back later, but just whatever. Um, Belinda is married. Fiyero is now the head honcho of the army who's hunting Elphaba down. Glinda is and tells Fiyero while they're in, like, she makes an announcement to the world before she tells Fiyero, she's like, we're engaged. Surprise. You hope you said yes. Like, and he's like, yeah, I'll marry you if it makes you happy. And she's like, well, won't it make you happy? And he's like, no, yeah, like, yeah, of course, that would make me happy. I just love his response.
He said, I'm always happy.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're gonna get married. It's gonna be the event of the season. Everyone will be there. And oh, skip ahead. Hold on, I'm skipping ahead. Nessa is his dad died, so now she has his job, and he's like,
He's the governor of
yeah,
Montana.
governor. I was gonna say mayor, and I was like, so whatever. She's not Munchkin though. She's just the governor.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she is hanging out with Bach. Bach is both her boyfriend, but also he's a munchkin, so he's like the servant. Which at this point in the movie, you're like, "What's that's weird."
Okay.
Makes sense
I have
later,
notes
but
on this, notes on that particular relationship, but continue.
anyway. And he's like, "Hey Nessa, sorry that your dad died. Glad I was there for you for that because you were kind of obsessed with me, and I think we should break up. I think I'm gonna move away." And she's like, uh, whatever. It's not gonna take. And he's like, that's kind of weird, but okay. He leaves. He tries to go on the train to leave
He
Munchkinland,
wants
and
to go find Glinda because he sees they're
Yes,
engaged.
that's what it is. I forget. Bach is a she just put out a law that says animals can't go nowhere without papers. And then he's like, that's stupid and you should not do that. And also, Glinda's getting married. Oh my gosh, I gotta go confess my love to her so that she doesn't marry Fiyero instead marries me. Because obviously. And he leaves, and when he's trying to leave, he finds out that she stamped that, oh, animals can't go without passports. Munchkins can't go without passports. You're stuck here. Tricked you. He goes back because it's a job, I guess. Now he's like full on servant, and he's like, whatever you say, Miss Governess. Okay, set me free, but like, okay. We skip ahead. Um, Wicked Witch of the Elphaba goes to see Nessa to see her. She's like, sorry, our dad died, but I wasn't at the funeral because he hated me, not because I don't like you. And she's like, that's ridiculous. What? That? How dare you? And she's like, you were there. You know he hated me. She's like, whatever. I can't believe you never helped me, and you never this. And she's just complaining all this stuff. And Alphaba's like, you never asked for my help. I don't understand why you're complaining. You're the governor. You're doing fine. She's like, Bach doesn't like me. She doesn't say that, but she's like, Bach doesn't like me. I can't walk. I'm just frustrated. And she's like, well, you know what? I'll use my magic spell. Actually, the book moves on its own. It's not like she decides to help her. Which I got thoughts about the book. Remind me later, because I'm gonna forget.
I'll write it down.
She the book moves and she's like, magic, I gotta do the magic spell right now because the book is telling me to. She does the magic spell, the shoes are enchanted, she now can fly. Oh my gosh, it doesn't matter that she can't walk. Did you, okay, I went immediately after I watched this movie, I checked out on IMDb and I like looking at the trivia. There's like two pieces of trivia for this movie because it just came out. And one of them is that the person who plays Nessa can't walk. And so in the Broadway, which I didn't know, she walks. But in this
Yes.
one, she flies because she can't
Yes.
walk.
When they had announced, I don't know how long ago, but I think it was John Chu, said she does not walk in this movie. So I immediately, red flag went off in my mind. It makes sense, obviously, because the actress doesn't walk, but it is kind of an important part to the downfall of, I mean, Alpha's like, I would say, in what happens to Bach, it is an important part for what happens to Bach because he says, you can walk now, you don't need
Yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah. It's because that she can walk that
Mhm.
he's like, I'm out of here,
Yeah.
and does chaos ensues.
Mhm.
She fixes her up with the slippers, silver slipper, ruby slippers. They're silver in the original Wizard of Oz book, but they are red in the movie, and they're silver in this one,
In
but
the Wizard of Oz movie.
in the Wizard of Oz book, it's
Uh-huh.
based on a book, they're silver. In the Wizard of
Okay.
Oz movie, they are red, ruby.
Interesting. Okay, because they weren't read in the play because didn't have
Yeah.
licensing to a lot of stuff.
The Wicked is it's not based on the Wizard of Oz book, but the Wizard of Oz movie, but this is the book. It's confusing, but it does make sense, and I think it does give it a charm
Yes.
than if it were to be based off the book, because the
Mhm.
book is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Um, her, but I do like you were like in the ones they have. Oh, it's they're silver slippers, but they shine red lights on them. But in this one, they're silver slippers, but they turn red when they start to work.
They definitely got licensing because they
Yeah,
weren't allowed to have Ruby Slippers, Dorothy, like any of those people in the play, but they had them all in this movie. So,
but I do. That's another. I'm gonna just talk about that right now. I knew that you told me that before, and you were like, well, I wonder how they're gonna do that because they're obviously in the movie. Are they gonna play a huge role? I'm like, I like that they showed them enough that they're like, oh, that's obviously them, but also
Mhm.
it's like the movie's not about
You
them.
never see Dorothy's face, and I made a specific note. That is good because it's not about her.
Yeah.
It plays into the fact that this is tied to the Wizard of Oz, but it's not about Dorothy. So if they would have added this whole storyline about Dorothy, like it would have been like, okay, like we're talking about Elsa and Glinda right now. She's not really important. So I like that she was not really a thing,
Yes.
even though she was there.
Okay. The shoes work. She can fly blocks like you don't need blocks like you don't need me. He's out, and she's like, wait. What are you? What? Magic spell. Give me the magic book. She can read it. That's weird. She doesn't read it correctly, but she can read it
Hmm.
when the other people can't read it at all.
Yeah.
She magic spells him, but does it wrong a little bit. Glinda. I keep saying Glinda. Elphaba is like, I know they're wrong. Don't do that. And she magics his heart away or just shrinks it. I don't know. She hurts him, his
Okay.
heart, and he's like dying on the floor. And she's like, ah, shoot. Elphaba fix it, and Elphaba's like, okay, get out of here, and I'll fix it. She tosses Nessa out of the room, and she just picks any spell pretty much, and she just starts doing a spell on him. And I did like, cause so I didn't. What happens is he turns the tin. He turns into the Tin Man.
What?
What? I did not know that happened.
Yes.
But
I loved that in the predictions, like you didn't even think about the Tin Man and the Scarecrow.
well, in my mind, I was like, they're completely unrelated.
Mhm.
Because in the Wizard of Oz, they're just out and about. And in my mind, they have their own stories. I'm like, the Tin Man was obviously just like a lumberjack robot that got stuck, and the
Mhm.
lion is used to be a lion, but now he's outcast, so now he's here. And
Mhm.
the Scarecrow was a scarecrow, but now he got like they had their own stories that made sense independently.
If you think about it too much, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but just don't think about it
Yeah,
that much. Think
because
about Glinda and
because
Elphaba.
when they go on the journey on the Yellow Brick Road in this movie, you're like, these people hate Elphaba and Fiyero knows. Spoiler alert, sorry. The Scarecrow knows
Yeah,
who everybody is, and
it's
like,
we'll get to that part.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, the scene. So right before they show him as the Tin Man, and he's like freaking out on the floor, and she closes the door, and Elphaba starts to do spells on him. Metal things kind of fling onto him, and I was like, a Tin Man? Like this is an excellent way that they turned him. I was like, that's great. I love that.
Mhm.
He comes out and is like, so I'm a Tin Man.
So okay.
How could you do this to me, Nessa? And Nessa's like, it wasn't, even though it's your fault.
Mhm.
And he's like, okay, fine, it was Alphaba. He runs out, his axe. He's okay. Before he was the Tin Man, what he was doing, he was chopping wood in the for the fireplace.
Okay, that was one thing I was unclear on.
But like he was holding it
Okay,
when he
gotcha.
was. That's
Yeah,
why I
because
was like, that's pretty good.
where did the axe come from?
That's
Like,
the when that first scene opens and they start to talk, he's chopping wood for the
yes, okay,
fireplace.
makes sense. I'm sure if I watched it one more time,
Yeah.
I would have clocked it.
He I feel like he's not holding it when he's talking to Nessa afterwards, but I think it's on the floor where he falls when his heart goes away.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Again, one more rewatch would solve these
Yeah,
problems.
but I gotta pay for that. I'll wait for it to come out and I'll get it myself.
Okay.
That's cool part of the movie.
Mhm.
She's like, okay, I'm gonna go see Glinda. But she's gonna go see. Elphaba's like, I'm gonna go talk to the wizard, and Nessa's like, literally, don't leave me right now. What are you doing? And she's like, you don't understand. Like, I gotta go talk to the wizard this instant. Which Nessa is being incredibly selfish at this point, and also just a big baby brat little child. But I feel like Elphaba has an urgency to go see the wizard that is unneeded because I'm like, you could have talked to him at any time since the last time you
Oh,
talked
it's
to him.
because the wedding is going to happen.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not necessary for. She's okay. She's upset because Glen's married Fiyero, but she wants to go talk to the wizard about it. So whatever. She's like, okay, bye. Nessa's like, do not leave me. What are you doing? Freaks out, becomes the Wicked Witch.
Which, okay, she says she is the Wicked Witch of the East because, like, she doesn't have powers or anything. She's not a witch, but she's just comparing herself to Elphaba,
Yeah,
saying, I'm just as bad as her. I'm the Wicked Witch of the East if she's the Wicked Witch of the West.
which
So
I
you were kind of right.
I was correct in the okay. So I'll get that
Mhm.
right. Okay, she go Alphaba. Let's go to the wedding. Sees Glinda. Oh my gosh, Glinda, you look so cute. Nice dress. I'm gonna go talk to the wizard. Hi. And Glinda's like, oh my gosh, bestie, I haven't seen you in forever. They're still friends, is the point.
Mhm.
And she's like, don't the monkeys are gonna get you. Like, come inside. Cares about her. Um, I don't think anything really important happens when they talk, but they do talk.
Glinda and Elphaba?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because, okay, this is a difference from the stage production. So when she goes to talk to the wizard, Glinda is not there. And the wizard is convincing her of all these things of like it's wonderful. The song Wonderful does not have Glinda in it in the stage production. She is in it in this one because she goes to see Alpha beforehand, and Alpha was like, I could talk to the wizard for you. Like, we're besties. And she's like, no, no, don't do that. And then Glinda shows up. Anyway, stage production, Glinda is not there. And her and the wizard are like making these deals, and the wizard is convincing her.
I will say though, it was good that Glinda was in that song because Jeff Goldblum could not carry. I
I don't think it was that bad.
didn't think he was terrible,
The
but
bit
I'm like,
talk
she's
about,
definitely better than him.
but can I just say, well, I'll talk about him later, and about some of the choices acting wise in this movie. Anyway, continue with the
Okay,
recap.
we gotta get through this. It's a pretty long movie.
It's actually only 2 hours
Yeah, in my mind, it's way longer than
because the
this.
first one is like three.
Yeah,
So I was thinking this one was also going to be three. But mind you, so I would say 90% of the time, if you go see play like a Broadway production, a musical, the second half will be shorter. And I think Wicked is a 3 hour long show. The second half is only an hour. So the first half
it
is longer
fits.
in the stage production, so it does fit. Because, and also the stage production, things are like, let's go, let's go, let's go. For part two, it's like, boom, 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 boom. This one, obviously, movie, they added some stuff. They added 3 new songs. There's some storytelling bits that can happen in the movie that they don't have the luxury of happening in the stage production. So anyway, but it is supposed to be shorter.
Yeah. Um, she goes to see the wizard. The wizard's like, Alphaba, oh my gosh, I'm looking for you. And and I I feel like I don't know if I just like misunderstand their relationship, but when they left, he was actively like hunting to kill her
Hmm.
in Defying Gravity. And then she just comes back and talks to him, and he's like, "No, yeah, you're great. Like, love you." And she's like, she buys into it a little bit, and then he continues to convince her. And the whole time, I'm like, I'm not understanding like what you guys are thinking that the conversation is going like this because I'm like either you like him or you don't, or you
I
think you can
think
use him or you can't,
I
or
think so. The wizard always is looking out for himself and how
yeah.
he can be better in the
I
situation.
understand what he's
No,
doing.
but what I'm gonna say is, like I just said, in the play, it is boom, 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 boom. This is not as long as it was in the movie, especially with the involvement of Glinda makes it longer. In the stage production, it feels like she goes there to be like, we're shutting this down, and the wizard's like, well, I'll make you a deal. So Elphaba's like, I'm listening. But in the movie, it's like this grandeur of like, we can be best friends when really that's not kind of how it comes off in the show.
Yeah,
Which so the show makes more sense to what you're saying. Because there's
got it.
not enough time for her to be like, we're friends.
Anyway, so he's like, I'll make you a deal. You be the witch, and I'll let go all the animals, and we'll chill. It'll be fine. And I don't know what's her end of the deal. Just don't kill me. Like,
Elphaba?
Elphaba.
She wants the animals to be able to come back to Oz.
Yeah, what's she gonna do for the wizard?
Oh, she I think she just gives I don't remember. I think she no no no. I think she was gonna be working with the wizard now
Oh,
because she was talking about the whole facade and like you can't do
oh.
magic. Tell him you can't do
She's
magic. And
oh,
he
I'm
says
not gonna tell him I can't do magic, but I will let the animals
he
know.
says I won't need to tell him because you'll be with
Oh,
me.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I understood in the theater, but now that I'm retelling it
Yeah.
in like in the facts.
Yeah. Like I said, it's
And
much shorter in the play. There's not enough
yes.
time to think about.
And so he's like, "Trust me. Here's the key. You unlock the animals. Like they're just right upstairs. It's all good. Everything's happy. It's all nice." She takes the key, unlocks the animals. She's like, "Sweet. This is
The
great.
monkeys.
Monkeys.
She lets the monkeys
The
out.
monkeys with the wings."
Hmm.
When I was watching this, there's a lot of suspense with giving her the key and having her unlock the door, and I was like, I thought it was gonna be like a trapdoor situation. Nah, now you're in a cage. That didn't happen, but I was like, that's a weird amount of suspense. For turning the key, she unlocks the monkeys are free. She talks to head honcho monkey and is like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Can you speak?" And he's like, and oh my god, oh my god, I need to get clips up just for that. Oh my gosh. He can't speak. Just audio listeners. You need to go look at that. That was good. Anyway, so they leave. The head honcho monkey, he stays, but it's like, whatever. So they're talking, and the wizard's like, "Yeah, we're gonna be besties. I gotta go to a wedding right now, though." So Glinda leaves, and he leaves, and he's like, "I'm gonna go get ready. You just wait here. We can all go have a party." He leaves, and go into his head to go change or whatever. I personally would not leave Elphaba in my lair. I'd be like, go wait downstairs in the reception hall, or like I feel like I would put her somewhere instead of leaving her out and about. The monkey is like turn messes with some stuff, turns the magic. He has a circular portrait of himself that he rolls away. Oh my gosh, secret tunnel. All the animals that have been going missing or kidnapped or whatever, they're all chained up in his house, in his room, pretty much. And she's like, "What the heck? What's going on here? I thought what was going on?" And so he sees her and is like, "Ah, shoot, it's not what it looks like." And she's like, "What could this possibly be? You suck, and now I'm forever just gonna make sure that you pay for you, and the deal is off, and you suck."
Mhm.
She unlocks all of the animals. Glinda's wedding is happening right now downstairs. The scenes. Okay, so there's the bit Glinda's walking down the aisle, and then it's Elphaba walking down the aisles of all the animals. I love that bit. That bit's so good. Pretty good. Love that bit. Oh, I love that. Pretty cool. Probably what's the one? I'm feeling pretty glunky. I think it's just
Guy
like
on
a
the
vibe.
street.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, uh, so she lets all the animals out, and naturally, the only way through they all just run through the castle. Which, okay, for like everything though, in other movies and other things where they're like, "Ah, we gotta save the animals," and all they do is unlock the cage and like let them free. I'm like, this might not be the best way to go about it. I understand in this one it makes a lot more sense because she's in anger she lets them free. She's like attacking the wizard, kind of. Then they ruin Glinda's wedding. They ruin Glinda's wedding. They just run through all the people, and then Madam her face. What she's attacking us? She's ruining the wedding, and she's trying to kill us all. And excellent propaganda on her part. And the Glinda. What happens immediately after this?
Fiyero and Elphaba meet back up.
Yes, that's what happens. Fiyero runs upstairs. Elphaba is hanging out with the wizard. She puts the wizard in a cage and is like talking to him. I don't know. Fiyero, who is the head honcho of Let's Hunt Elphaba Down squad, goes and finds her and is like, Boys, go grab some water. I'll deal with this." And he's got his gun, his little swirly pistol. Was it?
Ossified gun.
what is the actual the gun that looks like that?
I don't know.
Whatever.
It's not a
It's
revolver.
it's a kind of anyway. It's a cowboy gun. He's got it and he's like, I'm gonna get you, Wicked Witch. Just kidding. The wizard got you there. Get in the cage, wizard. I'm gonna go with Alphaba. Glinda shows up and is like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm going with Alphaba. And she's like, what? And Glinda's like, what? And the wizard's like, that's okay. And this I don't know. This scene is weird to me because I'm like, you're getting married to Glinda, right? You obviously don't like her as much as you like Elphaba, and all. You have been looking for her, but you have been looking for her as like the head honcho of the Let's Hunt Her Down team. So I'm like, I don't know. I just think it's a funny scene, I guess, because he's just like, I'm just gonna go with her, and she's like, okay, just come with me, I guess. And Glinda's like, I can't believe you. What the heck? And she leaves. The wizard gets let out and he's like, don't witch, did this to me and all this stuff. Fiyero and Elphaba go back to her crib and they are like, oh, I kinda like you. And she's like, I kinda like you too. This is crazy. And he's like, I'll just stay here with you forever. You know what? You can't stay here. They're gonna catch you. Go to my castle. Which I get where he's coming from. It's like you're gonna find me, but they are so definitely gonna look at his other castle when they find out that he leaves. They're like, oh, let's check his other. He has two castles. Let's check the other one. Anyway, um, she okay. Glinda is talking to Madam what's her face
Or
Morble, they're like, what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna get Elphaba? And she's like, use her sister. Just you could spread a rumor that she's in trouble and just use her and whatever. And I don't remember if Glinda leaves before or after this part, but she's like,
she walks away.
oh yeah, she's like, we can't use a rumor. Let's get her actually. And he's like, you're right. And at this point, I'm thinking like they mean like threaten her, not like actually harm her, because like,
Oh,
but because that makes more sense. We're like, oh, she's in danger, not she's no longer. I guess she's no longer in danger when she's dead, you know.
I never had that thought because I know what happens.
But I was like, yeah. At this point of the movie, although she has called herself the other Wicked Witch, I didn't realize.
That she's the lady under the house?
Well, I didn't even think about it because
Maybe you
I
should have
thought there was
rewatched Wizard of
probably
Oz.
and that's I thought about that during the movie. I was like, man, that would have been good because I knew you told me that the Wizard of Oz does take place during this movie.
Hmm.
I thought there was gonna be a much larger time gap, but I don't know why I thought that.
Between what?
Between between everything, because I'm like in the Wizard of Oz, she's this renowned wicked witch, and like oh
Oh,
she's
okay.
been like torturing us forever, and same with the other witch, like they recognize her as like Nessa dies, and then everyone's like the wicked
Okay.
witch is dead, even though in this movie nobody other than like stuff she did when she was governor,
I see. I see
like
what
she's
you're
not
saying.
very evil.
I gotcha.
So but I just wasn't thinking about it, so it took me by surprise.
But yeah, it makes sense because the Munchkins are all glad she's dead.
Yeah. Anyway, so Madam Marble, I was gonna say Warbly, but she tornado cyclone in the middle of Munchkin Land. It's never happened before, and nobody questions it besides Glinda later. Um, tornado, right? That'll be happening. Nessa, who can she currently fly?
See, this is why her not walking in the movie like fully didn't make sense because like if you can walk, you could still get a house dropped on you. But if you could fly, less likely.
She doesn't
She's
fly
in
at
her
this
wheelchair
point.
still.
She's in a wheelchair with her silver slippers,
Yeah.
and she is looking for Bach, just looking for him, I guess. And there's a tornado, and she's the only one outside, and a house gets dropped on her, which that's kind of doesn't go. This is a bad way to go, I
Bad
think.
luck.
Yeah. Anyway, she's dead. Elphaba finds it. She's like, "Oh my gosh, my sister's in trouble. I hear a house. Ah, the house is dropped on her.
Mm.
I gotta go."
Mm.
She goes and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Nessa." Dorothy comes before she gets there, and Glinda. This is the part that's funny because I know in the Wizard of Oz movie, I know what the good witch says at this point, and she's like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, are you a good witch or a bad witch?" Or like she does all this stuff that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for Glinda to say exactly,
There were
and
so many memes that came out after the first movie where it's like when Dorothy shows up and she makes her walk on the
oh,
yellow brick road, knowing there's a train that could take her right there. It's hilarious.
or like. And like, oh, are you a good witch or a bad witch? Oh, what's the difference? Bad witches are ugly. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Anyway, and then she knows Nessa, and she's like, you can just have her shoes, I guess. They're not magic. She doesn't know they're magic,
Yeah.
but it's funny.
Anyway.
Elphaba shows up. Glinda's there. She was. And then, well, I guess she knew, but she didn't really. Anyway, she's there, and they're there to like capture her. It's a trap, you know. They planned it. They were talking about it. Anyway, she's like, "I'm here to mourn my sister." Why'd you give her shoes to this girl that just showed up, who was in the house that smooshed her?
Mhm.
It's weird of you, Glinda.
Also, how did Madame Morble like conjure house from
I don't.
Kansas?
I feel like it was an accident. I feel like she was trying to kill her with the tornado, and then
The
also
house
there
just
was a
was there.
house in
Okay,
there.
okay. Makes sense.
That's what the vibes I was
Yeah, okay,
getting.
makes sense.
Yeah. So that's. But they also don't treat the house as very strange.
Yeah.
Where they're like house dropped on her. Can you believe? Like that's happens every Tuesday around here.
Yeah.
Um, she's like, "What the heck?"
Hmm.
And then the cops come, and she's like, "Stop! I'm just kidding. I mean, don't come. Like, don't hurt Elphaba." And Elphaba's in trouble because they got into a kitty fight with each other. A kitty fight? Is that what you call it? A cat
Yeah,
fight?
cat fight.
Cat fight. Which I appreciate. That works for their characters, and I appreciate that. And the whole time I was thinking of the Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. I thought
Mm,
that was funny.
mm.
Um, the cops come and they take Elphaba, and surprisingly,
Fiyero shows up.
oh yeah, she does show up. When they just grab her, I'm like, you're a witch, and they can just grab you and you're powerless. That's kind of weird. Anyway, because her magic is not tied to her broom. Her magic is not necessarily tied to the book. So when they grab her, what are they doing? Weird.
I feel like
Anyway,
she doesn't really know.
yeah. But
So,
yeah. Fiyero shows up and he's like, if you touch Elphaba, I'm gonna kill Glinda right here. And they're like, shoot, let her go. And the Elphaba leaves, and he's like, leave, leave. Other monkey leaves. Let's leave. The monkeys came with Fiyero, and you
they're
know,
buds now.
they are buds. I was thinking, I was like, there's definitely room for more than one person on that broom.
Mm.
Fiyero definitely could have. Uh, what's happening? Anyway, but it's important for the story, so it must have happened. Fiyero has his gun against Glinda, but you can see it in his eyes, and Glinda says like, "You're not gonna hurt me, I know it." But they're like, "Take him away." He knows where Elphaba's going. Take him away. They take him away and just like beat him up. And I thought they were gonna take him to like a dungeon or something to like, oh, he knows where Elphaba is. They just beat him up and leave him in a field. Elphaba goes back and is like, magic spell, save my boyfriend, save him. They're gonna beat him up and kill him.
I
Make
don't.
sure.
Okay, like I said, we've only seen this once, and I was watching No Good Deed, incredible. I was worried about. I'll talk about my worries about the whole movie before, but I was worried about No Good Deed in particular. In the play, hold this. She does this. Don't think she did it in the movie.
Yeah, she did.
This particularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did that. She does this. She opens the book and does this, but not for a good amount of
Okay,
it's
that's
just a
why
part.
I.
But she also does that at the beginning when it just like shows her with the book at her house.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's like very No Good Deed. Anyway, continue.
I do believe she does
Okay.
or something very similar. She's like she leaves and she's like magic spell my boyfriend, keep him safe. I obviously, so she's not really good at the book. The book is kind of,
She can read it, but she don't understand
yeah,
it.
which I'll talk about later,
Mhm.
which is good, but cast a spell on him, keep him safe, make sure he's immortal. Um, thank you, book. And which happens, and they put him on at one of these guys, and now he's a scarecrow. That was another excellent scene.
Mm,
Quality. I didn't know he's gonna be the scarecrow, but now I do. So
mm.
it's a good way they were.
I almost spoiled it right before we watched the movie because I was talking about things I had avoided or not avoided, and I said, "Oh, I did see a picture of," and I was about to say Fiyero as the Scarecrow, but then I went, "Never mind,
Spoiler.
that's spoilers."
Like
I was so close.
it was very close.
Yeah,
I would have been confused.
yeah.
But then I think if you had told me Fiyero was a scarecrow, then I would have Bach as the Tin Man. I
Tin
think that
Man.
would have come sooner.
Okay.
Um, then she casts a spell on him. She's like, I'm not gonna be good ever again because freaking every time I try to help somebody, it just backfires.
Yeah,
Everybody involved.
yeah.
So freaking, what's the point? I don't remember what happens immediately after the song.
The after No Good Deed is March of the Witch Hunters. It cuts to the
Yes.
the Emerald Palace, and they're all like, "We're gonna go kill the witch."
Okay, let's kill the witch. Bach is the head of the Let's Kill the Witch uh, fan club.
He's a personal vendetta
Yeah,
against Elphaba. I
and
do like this. I do
thi-
like his bit in this song.
as this part is going on, Dorothy is going down the yellow brick road and meeting all the people. I feel like, I don't know if there's a little incontinuity going on here or whatever because Bach is clearly in the city.
No, 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 no. So they made it to the wizard. The wizard said, "Bring me the broom of the witch." So then, so
Oh, say it because I'm like I swear he was in two places at
no,
once.
yeah, they already made
This
it.
makes sense. Meets all the people. Well, then it's like Scarecrow was there for like half an hour before she got
Yeah, it's
there.
like where was the scarecrow during March of the Winter? March of the I was looking for him in March of the Witch Hunters because I was like, surely he cannot be part of this. He wasn't there. At least I didn't see him.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he was. But who cares?
Anyway, okay. Tin Man makes sense that he doesn't have a heart. Lion makes sense that he's cowardly. Scarecrow, he has a brain. Where does brain? Why does he come? Did he just want to be part of the crew?
He was just playing the whole time
I guess.
because he knew the truth.
Did he though?
That was my takeaway from this is the only way it makes sense for Fiyero to
It
be a
it
part of
does
this.
make sense if he knew, but there's no way that he could have because of the way it played out. But I guess they could have plotted before Nessa died.
Hmm. Anyway,
But then Dorothy wouldn't have been there. And
they're going to kill.
just don't think about it
They're going
very
to kill
much.
Elphaba.
Let's go kill the witch.
Hmm.
Um,
Cut to the castle.
cut to the castle. Which castle?
Elphaba's there, and Glinda shows up. She's like,
Yes,
"Stop
she's
moving."
there. I got Dorothy. She's in my chamber. I'm getting her shoes back because they're my shoes. Whores. She's talking to Glinda, and Glinda's like, "What are you doing?" And Elphaba's like, "You shut your mouth. Like you're gonna be the good witch, and you're gonna like it." And she's pouring a bucket of water. Right? Okay. In the first movie, it rains, and everyone takes out their umbrellas, and that makes me think that more than I keep saying Glinda,
I do think
more
it.
than Elphaba is can't touch water. But in this movie, they make it a big point that it's just she can't touch water, and like other people are sloshing buckets, and it does nothing to them.
I do think you said something about Elphaba in the first movie about oh shoot, about the water thing because you've seen Wizard of Oz and so you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, she melts in water." So I believe when we watched the first movie, you were fully believing that she melts in water.
yeah,
Whereas in this movie they and I didn't say anything because in this movie they make a point to be Fiyero says like when they're casting judgments on her in um thank goodness somebody says, "Oh, she melts with water." And Fiyero's like, they're so stupid. Like that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah,
So you fully believed that for
yeah. Which is good for the story. Because I don't just because of that scene in the first movie where they're all like, "It's raining. Everyone get out of your mouth right now."
which I didn't notice. Sorry.
Just yeah. Anyway, um, they're gonna go kill a witch. Um, she's talking to Glinda, and he's like, "Glinda, I'm gonna die. Don't you worry about it. You're gonna be the good witch. You're gonna be the good witch because everyone needs a good witch, and you're gonna solve all the problems, and the wizard is gonna shut his stupid mouth, and all the problems will be fixed because they need a villain, and I'll be that villain. It's exactly what the wizard said, but we're gonna do it better.
Mhm.
And she's like, ah, okay, I guess. She doesn't really like agree, but she has no choice, you know. And she's like, Glinda, go into the closet and stay there. And which for the story, it's like, are you really gonna make her watch your friend die? But then it's like, it's important that she did. Um, she lets Dorothy out. Dorothy kills her, and she melts. Oh my gosh, no! Her hat falls. Dorothy takes her broom, skedaddles, goes to the wizard. The wizard's like, great. Things that happen in the Wizard of Oz. Glinda goes. Glinda. Glinda talks to the wizard, and she's like, guess what? She had your bottle. She was your daughter. That's why she was so magic. She was like double people. And what is that called? She was
They were
of both worlds. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't explain why she's green though.
because of the green elixir.
Okay. Um, and so she's like, "You're gonna leave right now." And he's like, "What am I gonna tell? You're gonna make something up, and you're gonna leave." And he's like, "Okay, I will." Balloons out of there.
She uh
Dorothy's not with him in the balloon.
no.
Okay. Okay.
Then she captures Madame Morgul. She
Yeah,
locks her up
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I was just thinking, I'm like, the shoes are magic that Dorothy has, but they're not. Does she fly to Kansas? She, whatever. It doesn't matter. The story's not about her. Um, Glinda's the good witch. Everyone, oh, she's in charge now, and all is well. Fiyero is dead, so she thinks, and Glinda is dead, so she
Alphaba.
thinks. Elphaba. Glinda's just easier to say, I think. Um, oh no, the trap door. Elf was alive. But
Oh.
Fiyero's alive. He's like
Oh.
Scarecrow now, but he's like alive. He's got that patchwork, you know.
Everybody says he looks like Ryan Reynolds as the Scarecrow.
Yes, yes, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yes. Um, but yeah, and he's like,
And
is that the end? It's something else.
they walk off into Beyond
Yeah,
Oz
they
and
leave Oz.
the
That's what
end.
it is.
Happy ending.
The end.
Okay, what a
That was a good.
retelling.
That was a long recap.
There's
She
a
took a lot
lot.
to go through.
There's a lot in this movie.
Tell me your thoughts.
Okay, let me just start off by saying before we watched this movie, people had already seen it and the critics have seen it. And we looked at the reviews and they were not outstanding. So I was worried. I was worried about this movie. And then after I watched The Slime, I teared up multiple times watching The Slime. And I said, if they do not do this movie justice, I will be so mad. Because after watching The Slime, it reaffirmed to me that I do like part two better than part one. So I was extremely worried and skeptical and just but I had faith because Wicked 1
Did you
was
watch
so good.
both parts in Slime?
No, just the second
Just the
half.
second one.
Yeah. But I had faith because I was like, I know part one was really good. And the downfalls I had of part one were really just nitpicky things. I rated it a 9 out of 10. 10 is no notes. I had a couple notes, so it was a 9. So I was skeptical going into this movie and I was worried. Because also, hate to say it, but Wicked has become the new Hamilton.
It's too mainstream, and I don't if everybody and their moms are talking about it, especially if their moms are talking about it, I don't care about
Which
it.
it's become the basic musical for everybody to love. It's become the new Hamilton in the sense that like people were like, I saw it and it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. People were crying like minutes into it, and I'm like, I do not believe anything you're saying because you clearly aren't actually like thinking about it. You're just obsessed with Wicked now because it's the thing to be obsessed with. Like even for the first one, I didn't cry during Defying Gravity. That wasn't the point I cried in because it's not like a tearful song in my opinion. It's like an empowering, let's go, whatever. People crying 2 minutes into this act or this movie, I was like, I'm not, your opinion isn't what I'm looking for in the moment. Especially for the fact that the first song in the act two of the play is my favorite song in all of Wicked. And yes, I did tear up in that song in the slime. It is not the opening number in this song because in this movie because they added bits before it. Um, so I was worried about that song in particular. Anyway, going into it, I was worried, but I was like, let's see. So kind of during the movie, I was kind of waiting for the part that people were saying wasn't good, which didn't happen for me. I thought it was good throughout.
What part did they say weren't good?
A lot of people were like, the storyline's just like the first one's so happy go lucky and this one's like not. And I was like, well, that is how
That's
it's
what
supposed to
happens in
be.
Act Two in
That's how it's
everything.
supposed to be. And then like some people were like, I just didn't like I can't think of specifics off my head, but they were like, it just didn't hit, like this part didn't make sense. And I'm like, this was a very, very good homage to the play. They added a couple songs, they changed a couple things, but like as a whole, it is Wicked as a whole is one of the best play to screen adaptations there is, in my opinion. They do the play justice. If you're a fan of the play, I don't see why you wouldn't be a fan of the movie as well. Both movies. So, that being said, um, there were a couple things, again, like before I had seen a picture of Fiyero as a scarecrow. I looked at the soundtrack before we watched the movie. I did not listen to the songs. I didn't want to hear the songs until we watched the movie. I did note The Wicked Witch of the East is on the soundtrack for Good. It is not on the soundtrack in the play version. And I looked this up at one point because I actually do love that song. Um, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't want to put it on the soundtrack because of spoilers of her being the Witch of the East," which I'm like, it's not really that spoilerly. But also there's other songs that spoil bigger things. Anyway, it's not on the soundtrack for the play, but it is in the movie, so I was excited about that. I also heard that she does not walk. I don't know, like, where to start with my thoughts. Like, should I start from the beginning or should I
Yeah,
just
go to the
go like,
beginning.
okay, um,
You have them written
I know,
down.
but I didn't take notes during the movie, so they're
Oh,
not
you're right.
necessarily in order. I'm just gonna go. We'll start with the whole Bach and Nessa thing. I knew that she wasn't gonna walk, so I did ding. What are they gonna do? How is that gonna play into the reason Bach wants to leave is because she can walk now, so she's fine. She doesn't need him. She does not walk in this movie, but she can fly, so he does the same thing of like, you don't need me anymore. When in the movie, when Bach is like, I'm gonna go find Glinda, and she's like, fine, leave. I was like, whoa, pause. She is like very captive to him. It like keeps him so held captive in the show that I was like, whoa, what is happening right now? Like this is not should not be happening. And then he gets to the train and he's like, oh, I can't leave. I was like, okay, at least he didn't let him fully leave. But then I did think if he was able to leave Nessa, like why would he come back to Nessa in this situation? Why wouldn't he just go somewhere else in Munchkinland if he can't leave Munchkinland, but he still doesn't want to be with Nessa because she's like holding him captive like she is in the play? That for me didn't really fully make sense, but like,
My thoughts were, I'm like, he goes back, he's like, oh, if I like appeal to her, then
yeah,
he'll let me leave. She'll let me
could
leave.
be. So I was like, oh, that part a little bit was not great, but like, it pulled through in the end. I was just so quick on the draw to be like, oh, she's letting him leave. She's letting him leave. Like, that's crazy. Like you said, a Bach turning into the Tin Man and Fiyero turning into the Scarecrow, impeccably done. Like such good visualizations of how they become those characters that you obviously don't get in the play because we can't get all those effects. But like those two scenes were up there for top two. The best scene in this movie for me, I think was the best scene was when Fiyero comes back to save Elphaba after her and Glinda fight and he's like the guards take him right before he turns into a scarecrow. That was the best scene in the entire movie when Fiyero is pointing the gun at Glinda. You're like, like you can see everything in his face that like is the sub context of like the scene. It is the best scene in the whole movie. For me, Fiyero and the wizard were the best acting in this whole movie. Like, which it should be Glinda and Elphaba. But for me, Fiyero was number one. Fiyero was just above and beyond in this movie. And I say the wizard also because I think Jeff Goldblum is is the wizard. He is just everything the wizard is. The wizard is not like I'm not mad at his singing in this movie because the wizard is not like a
He's
grand
not meant
whatever.
to be a good
Yeah.
singer.
You know who shouldn't have been cast in this movie? I hate to say it. Sorry. I hate to say it. Madame Morrible, she can't sing.
I will agree with that.
I'm just uh, like there are moments in this movie and specifically songs in this act that like she is supposed to be singing it and she they turned it into talking bits in the movie and I was like Michelle Yeoh, I'm so sorry, she looks the part, but if you can't sing like how you're supposed to be singing, you should not be cast in those roles, period. Like if we're doing a musical, period, like get people who can actually sing. Every single time she opened her mouth I was like, This is not it." It took away from whatever was happening. And I was like, I feel so bad because like she looks the part and she played it good, but like the singing was not it for Madame Orville. Like
I'll agree.
it just was not, she can't, it wasn't it.
I will say though for Fiyero did an excellent job. I will say, so I know what Jonathan Bailey looks like. I've seen the first movie. But when first was in the beginning of this movie, where he's standing next to Glinda, and I was like,
Becca
"Who
leaned
is
over and she
this?"
said, "Who is that?" And I said, um,
I
it's
was like, "Why
Fiyero.
is he just with this random guy?"
What?
I just failed to recognize him, and then throughout the movie, I continued to fail to recognize him.
She's
I was
he's
like, he's just, I don't, I maybe it's like face blindness. Or I'm like, I'm so glad he's dressed in all gold, or else I would not
mhm.
have recognized him.
Something that I was curious for this part was in the first movie. So Jonathan Bailey does not have blue eyes. He does have blue eyes in Wicked. So after the first movie, everybody was like, "What was with the blue eyes? Like, why did you need blue eyes?" And he said, in part two, there's a part that like it will come into play, and he's like, "There's a line in As Long as You're Mine, I think it is, where it's like seeing things through your eyes." He's like, "So that's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully it'll come through." I don't, cannot tell you where that came through in this movie. Like, why did he need blue eyes? I don't understand.
I did. There were some people who were like, he's supposed to have blue eyes, he's supposed to have blue eyes, but you can see that they're a little bit brown. And this one, I'm like, I feel like you can't. I feel like not only does it not matter, but I feel like you can't tell that his eyes are brown
Yeah, I was
anymore.
like, I don't understand. He didn't need blue eyes. As far as I can tell, he did not need blue eyes. And I was looking for the blue eyes bit because I was aware of this situation. But I was like, I don't think he needed blue eyes. Unless I totally missed something or it was like hidden in there somewhere. Didn't need blue eyes.
Maybe it's like he's got the blue eyes, scarecrow. Oh, it must be
Which
him.
he didn't have blue eyes when he turned into the scarecrow, did he?
I don't know.
I don't think he did. His
I don't
eyes were like
remember.
dark brown or like black as a scarecrow. So I was like, I don't understand the blue eye thing. But anyway,
I don't know,
No Good Deed, like I said before, was very good. The singing, when she was singing in No Good Deed, I was like, okay, okay, okay. As Long as You're Mine, everybody's favorite, right? Um, in the play, okay, okay, okay,
bro.
in the
Okay.
movie, when they start singing As Long as You're Mine, they're in her like little hut or whatever, and they like separate, but they're like still in the same area, and they're like walking around the area and changing and looking at things, and they are singing. They are not singing to each other. The whole point of As Long as You're Mine is we're finally together. We're singing to each other in this embrace. In the show, they're like embrace how they were their stance at the very end of the song where their like knees are touching and they're like up with each other. That is how they are the entire song in the play. And I was missing that in the first half of the song because they're supposed to be singing to each other. They're saying like we're fine as long as you're mine, like we're here.
I
But
will say, okay, let me finish yours. Let me finish yours.
like they're just walking around and they're like it's like they're supposed to be like thinking these things. No, 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 no. You are telling this to Fiyero. You are telling this to Elphaba. You are finally together as a couple, and they spent half the song not in the same scene, like not in the same frame.
Okay, here's what my thoughts are. So this whole bit starts off when Fiyero is like, "I'm gonna go with you," and then it ends like right before she leaves. Right? It's like, "I'm gonna go with you." I feel like they're trying too hard to tell the audience that Elphaba is, for lack of a better word, conflicted about Fiyero because she loves him, but she also likes Glinda, and so she's like, "I don't want to hurt Glinda." But that I feel like they did it too much because then it's like, I mean, I guess you can come with me, but I'll just leave you downstairs while I go upstairs and then not talk to you, and then we can be together. It should be like, yes, come with me. Like, I want to be with you, and now we're together, and like it makes it much more when they separate and then come back.
So that was one part in the movie that I was like, okay, this is not hitting like it should hit because they're not singing together with each other. I was upset about that one. Um, Another thing that I was like, okay, was like we said before, the first movie begins at the very end, where Glinda's like, the witch is dead. Let me tell you the story of how it happened. At the end of this movie, she comes back to that scene, and it's the same scene of the witch is dead. Let me tell you how it happens. Oh, wait, they changed it. They changed it. The girl asks, "Oh, but weren't you guys friends?" And she's like, "Oh, we were, but what did she even say? We can change our futures and everything is awesome and the animals are good. Come in, animals. Everybody join the scene. Changed it. You created this full circle moment. You should have just stopped it where she starts to tell the story and instead you like added these bits about like now the animals are good and we change our futures. It doesn't make sense because Galinda, yes, she's like still personifying the Wicked Witch of the Good Witch or whatever. But like it's supposed to be that like she is portraying to the world that Elphaba was this wicked witch and like all this stuff. But like she's kind of showing her true colors of being like yeah, but like maybe not everybody's all that bad.
It makes more sense both from a writing perspective and like from the audience where it should be exactly the same, for the reason being when you first watch it you think things about it and you're like, obviously she hates the witch and obviously she's in charge now and all this stuff. When you watch the whole story and then at your end, well, she has to say that. She does this because of all these reasons. And it's the same thing, but you're seeing it in a different way. But actually, it's not the same. And you're seeing it in a different way because it's different.
It takes away the power of knowing the full story
Yeah.
because they then rewrote the story. So I was like, you created this full circle moment, but then you changed it. So I didn't love that. And then I wasn't mad at this, but I felt like they should have put it in a different spot. Was at the very end of the movie, she's like reminiscing, she's looking back, and they do the poster. At the very, is that the last
It's the
scene of the
last second of the
last
movie.
second of the movie? And I was like, okay, you could have put that in.
Pretty much anywhere.
They have another flashback to that exact picnic scene or whatever. Put it in there. Why'd you add it in as this last throwaway
I
scene?
feel like it was meant to be kind of
Like a closing?
like a closing, like ooh, like excitement,
Yeah, but
but it didn't really.
it would have been better if you put it in the flashback
Okay,
sequence.
now that we're talking about the poster, here's what I was gonna say before. Before I had watched the first Wicked movie, all I had I here's what I knew about Wicked. I knew it was about the witch from Wizard of Oz. I knew that it was like kind of her backstory and how she is not all that bad, right? This is what I knew. And then I'd heard the most popular songs from Act One. And I had probably heard the stuff in the Act Two, but I couldn't tell you what happened to them, right? And I'd seen the poster, and the poster is what influenced pretty much all of what I thought what the story was about. Because the poster, like I've said, Elphaba smiling, Glinda whispering in her ear, it makes it seem that like Glinda is the evil person making Elphaba evil. do bad things. She's becoming the Wicked Witch, right? That's what the poster makes it seem like, which is not. This is actually the opposite of what happens in the movie. Is that they're both actually good, and Elphaba is the one masterminding Glinda to make them both play their parts. Which, I mean, I'm not mad that it's different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying like them throwing stuff in like that. It doesn't make quite as much sense. It doesn't portray it very as well.
Mm.
Um,
Another thing that I was like, I am not mad at the song. The song Girl in the Bubble was added for the movie. I'm not mad at the song. I'm mad at where they placed the song. It happens right after they're like, we're gonna go kill the Wicked Witch. And it's like, and then it's like, Girl in the Bubble. Like, you've again, they did this in part one. They did it again this time. You've built all this momentum to this thing that is happening, and then you cut the momentum for this other moment where they cut the momentum of the Wicked Witch. Let's get her. Let's kill her. And then she's like, Glenda's like, I'm just the girl in the bubble. Like, you're like, wait a second. We just had all of this stuff about the Wicked Witch. I'm not mad at the song. You could have put it somewhere else. They did the same thing in Defying Gravity, where they're like building, 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 pause, we're gonna have Alphaba look at herself in a mirror. Like, you don't need those bits. They
I feel like
actually
it's
make it less.
the same where you're like they're trying just a little bit too hard to show a different perspective or to show something interesting that you lose everything that you've already built and know that works.
Mm.
And yeah, I agree with you.
I'm not mad at Girl in the Bubble. I was singing it to myself when I got home from the movie, but it should have been in a different spot. It would have fit after she realized it, well, okay, they have the whole I'm not that girl reprise. Even before that, she starts to realize that like she's not as good. Like, they could have had it early on before that. Before all of the the bloodthirsty people want to go after Alphaba. Um, but yeah. You wanted to touch on, oh, on the book? You said I have thoughts about the book. Remind
Okay,
me.
here's okay. This what I think is interesting about both Elphaba and the book. The She can read it. Oh my gosh, chosen one. She can read the book, but she doesn't quite understand it. But also, all of the spells either if it's because of the spell themselves or because she doesn't understand it as much where I'm like she tries to help by using the book and the book always turns out
Screws her over.
yeah it just messes it up or it well not quite messes it up but I'm like it didn't turn out the way you thought or maybe there could have been a better spell for that or
I
you're
think it
you're
like
just going into it without knowing.
is like we said earlier, like she can read the book, she doesn't understand the book. Like,
Yeah, and
those are two different
I think
things.
that does good for her character and especially for her like being the wicked witch where I'm like, where they people are like, oh, look at what she did, where she's like, oh, but she didn't really know, or she was tricked, or this whatever, or I'm like, it's,
Yeah.
I think that's good that the book is kind of tricksy, you know.
Um, One thing that I said when we were doing a review of part one, I gave away a spoiler and I kind of was like, whoa, whoa, in the moment. And then after we stopped recording, I was like, I put a spoiler in there, but I don't want to tell you what it is. And I had accidentally said that in what No One Mourns the Wicked. I was like, oh, and the bit that Jeff Goldblum sang because he is the father in that song, but like you're not supposed to know that. So I like kind of quickly brushed it off like when we were talking about it because I noticed that I said that, and then I was like, oh, and you'd never picked up on it that
Uh,
that he
I
is the
just I
father
just figured I was like, oh, the wizard be
because
singing.
it does sound exactly like Jeff Goldblum in that song. So if you know, you're like, it's Jeff.
It's Jeff.
But I guess you didn't clock it.
No,
So that's the thing I accidentally spoiled ahead of time, but I guess it didn't even spoil. Or you didn't even hear me say
I
it.
did probably
But
both.
anyway.
Yeah,
So yeah. You also were like talking about the animal thing in part one. When we were talking about that in my head, I was going, to my recollection, the animal part is almost non-existent in part two because it's all about Alpha and Glinda,
Glindaba.
Elphaba and
Why is it
Glinda's
getting so difficult?
relationship where the animal's like, yeah, it's still part of Elphaba's motivation, but it's not really what part two is about.
Yeah.
But anyway, thoughts overall. I think this one's just as good as the first one. I give it a 9 out of 10.
This one I feel like I liked this movie better than I liked the first one because I was going into the first one, I didn't think I would like it.
Mhm.
Which I've talked before, we were like, oh, if you have low expectations, you'll like it more. But I think that I was expecting not to like. I had decided not to like it
Mm.
rather than expecting not to like it. So I didn't like the first one as much, but I do now. This one didn't make made me like the first one better.
Mhm.
I rated this one a 7, but I feel like it's closer to an 8.
What did
But
you rate the first one?
I don't know. Let's check. It's probably
I
like a
think
6 or
I
7.
think I rated the first one a 9. I think this one is equally as good. It's not, it can't be less than. It's equally as good, but it's not a 10. There are things wrong with both of the movies, especially because I'm comparing it to the play production, and that already is like you have to be absolutely spot on or make it the most incredible movie I've ever seen for it to be a 10.
I rated the first one a 6. I think they're both 7s. Maybe 7,
What?
both 7s and a half.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I feel like it's the, I guess, subject matter that's making me not rating it as high. Because I'm like, the
Okay.
movies that I have rated 8s, 9s, and 10s are like Inception
Okay.
and like movies like that where I'm like,
Yeah.
they just don't fit my vibe.
What was I gonna say? It just came to me.
Something good, something about Fiyero, something about
No, it was about the ratings. Something about the ratings.
something about
No,
animation.
oh, no, no. It was teared up multiple times watching the slime. So I thought I was going to cry in at least one part. I thought it was going to be during For Good. Did not tear up at all during this movie. I did cry in the first one. So that
When did you cry in the first one?
in the part where Elphaba is dancing
Oh,
by herself and then Glinda joins in Dancing for Life because that is the moment where they sat in the silence and sat in a moment where it should be sitting. We're not sitting in Defying Gravity. We're sitting in Dancing Through Life. Anyway, um so I think these movies both had equally good highs and lows. Lows being like things that I found had problems with, but they're all on a nitpicky technical standpoint. Whereas, like, if I had knew nothing about the show, I don't know what I would rate it.
do you think that you would like it more
I
because
don't know
it's not
because
you don't love the nitpicky things, or you like it less because you don't already love Wicked?
I don't know. I'd probably be about the same because if I didn't know anything about Wicked, I'd be like, okay, this is really good. But also, like, I'm comparing it to the stage show, and they did an incredible job at representing the stage production within this movie. So I'm giving it points for that. So I don't know. I don't know.
It evens out.
I'd probably be about the same. But anywho, that was Wicked. For Good. Um,
It was a good. This was pretty good.
the in the first one, the whole like ossifying the words, like I couldn't even give you just an example. Bothered me a little bit in the first one. Didn't bother me as much in this one, even though I think they did it more.
They did. They didn't do like ossifying words, but they did
The clock
say
tick,
yeah. Clock tick was
just the clock
many many
tick.
many times they said
That
that.
that almost got on my nerves. You know what did get on my nerves? This just reaffirms to me how much I hate going to see movies when
Oh,
other people are in the theater. I was livid. I was so up. I was, oh my gosh. I get it. I get it. People are there to have a good time. They're with their friends, they're with their family, they're with their kids. The kids, oh my gosh. I was sitting next to a lady who was smacking on a lollipop the entire time. And then her kids next to her were asking her dumb questions the entire time. Was like, shut your mouth.
there were
And also the like popcorn smacking and it was
there were 2 points of the film. One of which was a quiet part where no one was speaking in the movie, and the other
mm,
one was right
what
before, right after.
in For Good, the like very quiet temporary like part of
And
For Good.
everybody is moving bags and moving. It sounded like everybody in the theater was moving. I was like, "What?" And I
Parti-
looked at you, and I was like, "What's going on?"
particularly the entire group behind us were like passing Skittles or something like to that nature to each other, going, "Let me dump out some Skittles. Now you dump out some Skittles. Do you want some? You can have the rest of the Skittles. Okay, let me dump out the rest of the Skittles." I was like,
There was somebody who was on the very top row. They had two empty water bottles.
Oh my
Tapping
gosh.
them against each other, and I know it was them because at the very end of the movie, right before the very end, they put their water bottle above the projector, and you could see it in the movie.
Oh my gosh. I just, I was telling Becca, I want a petition for food prohibited screenings because those are the ones I want to be at. I want everybody to shut up and I want to watch the freaking movie. Like the parts that like were quiet, all were filled with noise of the people like just chomping or ripping wrappers. And I get it. I get it. I understand that like concession sales are important to a movie theater surviving because that's where most of their profit comes from. But it was on a ridiculous level at this film in
Would
particular.
you pay for a more expensive ticket, like $2 more,
For
for us, like quiet, no kids, no food,
for a
like
movie like this, yes. Because I know it's going to be packed. I try to go see movies in the middle of the day when nobody is there because I like to be the only one in a theater. That is one of my favorite things in the whole world. But I know for a movie like Wicked, it's gonna be full no matter what day of the week you go.
we were planning on going earlier in the day, but I pushed it back because I wanted to be in the bigger theater,
So
which
I knew there was gonna be people
I'm
there.
glad we were. They had much more comfy seats.
Oh, that was another thing. The seats at this particular theater were very close together. So the guy in front of me was knocking his seat on my knees the entire time. And I wanted to be like, are you kidding me? Like, you don't feel my knees up against the back of your neck? Like, anyway.
For the probably the first, it was probably a good half of the movie. The guy next to me, you know when you like need to blow your nose and it like whistles? He could not stop. It was, and he was like touching his face the whole time. I was like, you're making so much noise right now, and that's all I can hear. I'm trying to hear the songs, and all I can hear is you breathing.
It's ridiculous. And I
No, it is an
know
easy fix.
we
You
have
just go
talked
blow your
on
nose
this
and
pod
come back.
before about our gripes with people talking during movies just at like our house.
I
Like
think
we'll pause it and people will get pissed and we're
people
like,
get upset that you should I should be able to pause and play my movie as I please,
this
and
should
you're getting upset that I'm pausing it because you're
you
talking.
should be grateful that I want to pause this and pay attention to what you're talking about and then I'll proceed on with the movie. I don't want it going on multiple things in my ears at the same time. I cannot have it.
Because okay, so I understand why people would get upset if I were to pause the movie, or to be upset if I'm watching a movie in the dark and they come in and turn the lights. They need the lights, right? But if I'm watching a movie and you're coming in and you're talking and I pause it, that's not affecting you in any way. You're like, you can't watch a movie with someone talking. You can't watch a movie with the lights on. You can't. Shut up.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter if I want to watch a movie without talking. It shouldn't matter.
Anyway, this is not about Wicked. We've said our piece, and I do think you should go see it. So,
It's good.
and we'll see you in a clock tick.